Hello and welcome to this program, Tiyende Limodzi, right here on the Radio Anafe, and I am Lester Mone, your host today. I'm joined by Mr. Mwanza, who is the Chairperson of the Finance and Investment Council of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. Today, we shall be talking more about the upcoming interface meeting between the Archdiocese of Lilongwe and the various parishes that participated in buying units from the Centenary Bank. So, first of all, I welcome you to today's program, Mr. Mwanza.
Thank you very much for having me back on the program.
Maybe for the start, could you briefly explain what's all about when we are talking about the whole process of buying units from the bank?
Right. No, thank you very much again. In terms of the process of buying units regarding Centenary Bank, our listeners and our viewers out there will recall that last year, the Archdiocese opened the opportunity for people to participate in the shareholding of Centenary Bank. Centenary Bank is owned partly by the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese owns 49% in the bank. And then Centenary Rural Development Group Uganda owns 51% in the bank. As the Archdiocese has been consolidating its investment in Centenary Bank, it wanted to open the opportunity for parishes but also individuals to participate in the shareholding in a way that in the future, when the Archdiocese is getting returns from the bank, some of the people that have contributed would also get part of those returns. So it's parishes always have income generating activities. We call them IGAs. This was one such opportunity for them to actually make an investment into the bank through the Archdiocese, and so later on also enjoy some of the benefits. This is especially for the financial sustainability of the parishes, but also the different parishes.
So perhaps we understand that since that opportunity opened up, it's almost some time has passed. Some of our viewers might want to understand what has been the trend like, and perhaps how do those who participated in maybe acquiring units from the bank know that maybe the transactions were successful?
Yeah, it has taken a bit of some time, and we are also thankful to all the people that participated for the patience that they have actually showcased. I can speak about the process, the steps that we actually took. In the beginning, there was a call that was sent through the parishes to say that people that want to actually contribute to this fund can actually do that. Before we actually sent out that call, we had to get approval from the Reserve Bank of Malawi, which is the one that oversees all the financial institutions, including Centenary Bank. So there were a number of submissions that we had to make to the Reserve Bank of Malawi, just pretty much informing them of this fund that we were creating, the features of the fund, and how the fund would be administered.
Perhaps on that, how different is this fund maybe from the shares that a lot of people maybe know outside there?
Yes, it's a good question, because normally when we're buying shares in a company, we buy shares through the Malawi Stock Exchange. If the company is giving out shares, it normally would go for a public listing, and so people would buy shares directly through the Malawi Stock Exchange. This was actually quite different. This is an internal fund that the Archdiocese has created, which is pooling the contributions of people and then using those funds to consolidate its investment in Centenary Bank. So it's different from buying shares directly in the bank. And this is why we're also calling them units. We didn't call them shares. Because if you say that we are offering shares, it's as if we're going on the Malawi Stock Exchange and listing, and then people are buying shares directly. This is just a fund. People buy units within the fund. The units were given a particular amount per unit. So people had a minimum that they can actually buy in terms of units. So the fund then just consolidates all that contribution, and it is still the Archdiocese that is holding the shares in Centenary Bank, but it has then also allowed people to pour into this fund and then utilize that for the investment. So that's how different it is to buying shares directly in an institution.
So going back to the process, you said you also went through the Central Bank of Malawi. That's RBA, maybe addressing them about the fund which you introduced. Maybe our viewers would also want to understand. The Archdiocese is the one to acquire the shares from the bank, and the people are buying units through the same shares the Archdiocese is acquiring from the bank.
Yes. So the Archdiocese owns 49% of the shareholding in Centenary Bank, and the funds that people have contributed are part of this 49% that the Archdiocese owns in Centenary Bank. That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Proceed with the steps that were followed on this fund.
Yes, so after we got the approval from the Central Bank, of course, now we open the call for people to now contribute into the fund. And there were, of course, timelines that were provided. People first had to apply. So there was an application form which was sent throughout all the parishes that had actually expressed interest to participate. Once those application forms were signed, they came back to the Archdiocese. Those were now processed, and then people were now advised to deposit money into a dedicated account, which is the account of the fund now. So people had now made their deposits into that particular account, and then there was now a process of allotting now the units to the different individuals. Pretty much once the allotment was done, we now needed to make sure that we have sufficient documentation that actually guarantees that someone has signed up to this particular fund. So that process, of course, maybe is the one that took a bit of some time. We just had to make sure that all the legalities around those documents are well in place, that the documents have been legally vetted, and then we have now sent those particular documents. So there's two documents that people need to sign. One is a standard administrative arrangement, which gives the contours of the relationship between every contributor and the Archdiocese. And then there's also a beneficiary form that one has to also sign. So in the event of death, for example, who would then those units be allocated to, or who would the future returns be allocated to? So everyone needs to sign that beneficiary form. There's a section for one person, but if you want to assign more beneficiaries, you can replicate that form and add as many beneficiaries as you'd like to add. Now, once those forms are sent back, these forms are actually part of an MOU that has also been now developed between the Archdiocese and every participating parish. So every participating parish will sign the MOU, and all the forms of the contributors are annexes to this particular MOU, which will now be sent back to the Archdiocese. Once we receive those, then certificates will now be issued. So at the moment, we're in the process of producing those, and those certificates will now be issued at an event that will be held here at the Archdiocese on the 28th of this month of March.
Now, what was the trend like since the Archdiocese opened up for that opportunity? Were parishes and the people maybe willing to participate?
Yes, we've noted quite some willingness from different parishes within the Archdiocese. I think we're counting about 29 parishes that have participated. So that's a good number, good cross section of the parishes across the Archdiocese that have participated, and quite a number of people as well within those parishes that have also contributed. We have seen some of the parishes also making their investment, which has also been very positive.
So once that process has been done, what next for the parishes and even the individual shareholders?
Yes, so on the 28th, of March, we look forward to welcoming contributors and contributing parishes to an interface meeting. We have invited Centenary Bank to come and make a presentation to the different contributors. That will showcase pretty much the trajectory that the bank has been on, its current performance. It's just finished 2025, so we'd like to also, the bank to convey to people how the performance has been, but also maybe forward-looking, how the bank anticipates that it will continue, performing, but also the services that the bank offers, so that at least contributors really know what Centenary Bank is all about, what it's trying to do in terms of driving financial inclusion in Malawi. So there'll be a presentation that will be made because the people that have contributed, in a way, they are part of the shareholding through the Archdiocese. So they are important stakeholders. They need to know how the bank, is actually doing. And then we'll also then be issuing the certificates. So what we've asked is that we should get confirmations of people that are actually coming or intend to come on the 28th.
Which means there's a process which is happening or which is taking place to maybe identify those who are coming and perhaps those who participated in acquiring units from the Archdiocese.
Yes, so the two forms that I mentioned that people need to sign, those forms need to be returned to the Archdiocese by next week, Monday, on the 23rd of March. Once they are returned, if we also have confirmation that that person wants to attend the event on Saturday, then we will, of course, document who is actually coming from each parish and have their certificates ready for them to actually be presented on the 28th. For those that indicate that they will not be able to come, we'll still make their certificates available through their respective parishes. But what next is that people will now have their certificates. That's a confirmation of their investment. And then, the returns that the Archdiocese will get is dependent on when the bank declares dividends for shareholders. In banking or in any business, normally a company will make its profits. Part of those profits are reinvested in the institution so that it can continue to strengthen itself and perform even better. And then sometimes a certain portion is declared as a dividend, which goes back to the shareholders. In that case, when a dividend is declared, we don't know when it will be declared. It could be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. That's dependent on the institution. But once those dividends are declared, 51% of those dividends will go to Centenary Rural Development Group Uganda. 49% of those dividends will come to the Archdiocese of Lilongwe, and then the Archdiocese will now assign a portion commensurate to the fund contribution back to the fund, so that can now be distributed according to how many units everyone actually bought in the fund. So there'll be a return on a specific unit, and then you can then multiply how many units someone got times that return on the unit, and that will be the return that people will then eventually get. Of course, as I emphasize, we're not saying that it's going to be immediate. It's going to be this year. That is dependent on when the dividends are declared, and that is a factor of consideration of the bank in terms of the investment and what can go back to the shareholders.
Now, some might be asking, like you have set a deadline for the parishes and maybe individuals to submit their forms. What will happen to those who missed that deadline?
Yes, the deadline is for two reasons, I guess. First is to make sure that we have the certificates that the people are going to actually get on the 28th. The other is logistical. We need to know how many people will be coming to actually come into Maula Hall. And we need
because some might think that maybe the Archdiocese maybe is planning to offer transport and all that.
No, like with many other events that the Archdiocese hosts, the Archdiocese may not be able to refund transport. But people are welcome to come and be part of the event. And of course, the Archdiocese has to cater for the people that are coming. Obviously, there has to be a bottle of water, maybe some snacks or some food that people need to get. So it's part of also logistical planning to make sure that we know how many people are coming, and we can make the event, a successful event that caters for everyone. Also, the Maula hall, of course, is quite limited. The capacity. So if 500 people say they're coming, but the hall maybe has maximum capacity of 150, we may need to say maybe the first 150 that expressed interest are the ones who maybe can actually come in and get their certificates. But also, of course, if there's an overflow, we'll have to make provisions for that overflow, so that at least people can participate effectively in this event.
Now, maybe can you walk us through the program of the day on the 28th? How has it been planned?
Yes, we hope that the event will be presided over by the Archbishop, and so we expect that he will make a keynote address to the different people that have contributed, and then we expect that Centenary Bank, as I mentioned, will make their presentation, and then we'll have the certificate awarding ceremony, and then after that, we should be wrapping up. We don't expect that it will be a very long event. I believe it's scheduled to start at 9:30, and so in about 2 hours, we're sure that ceremony will be final, and then we can all go back smiling, being part of Centenary Bank.
So maybe as we're about to wind up, to our viewers, what any word of encouragement perhaps to attend the function? They might also have an opportunity to hear something about this fund, and also maybe encouraging them to take part in acquiring the units from the fund which the Archdiocese introduced.
Yes, so at this point, I would just, of course, on behalf of the Archdiocese, convey gratitude for everyone that actually participated in this particular initiative. Also the parishes that also participated, because this is a strong drive towards financial sustainability, which is a key focus area for the Archdiocese, and also really preoccupies the minds of me and my colleagues on the Finance and Investment Council as we support the Archdiocese in these areas. And so it's really to express that gratitude and invite people to fill the forms that have been provided. We hope that by now all the parishes have received their forms, and to return them on time so that it can assist for the planning of the event. And then on the day to really start being a key stakeholder in the bank by getting insights into the bank and being effective participants in the bank. So that's what I can say. Really an expression of gratitude, and also looking forward to all of us working together with this great gift that we have in the Archdiocese of Centenary Bank.
So which means the fund is open to everyone?
Yes, the fund has been open to everyone within our parishes, within the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. We have started within the Archdiocese. And so the process that we've gone through, of course, we've now closed the process of people contributing, because it was, as you recall, it was quite a long process. There were different windows that were opening for contribution, and so that process has now been wrapped up. The fund, will now be, fully, at least people have subscribed to the fund. And then, so it was really the people that were in parishes that had this opportunity to participate.
With that, we have come to the end of this program, Tiyende Limodzi, where we are talking with Mr. Mwanza, who is the Chairperson of the Finance and Investment Council of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. They have shared a lot about the units where the parishes and the other individuals acquired from the Archdiocese of Lilongwe, and we have also heard a lot about the upcoming interfaith meeting where the Archdiocese has invited those parishes and the individuals that acquired units from the Centenary Archdiocese Fund is going to take place on the 28th of March here at Maula. This has been Lester Mone. Until next time, I wish you a lovely day.